All right. So today we have a Q&A session. So we go right to the questions. There are a few questions for tonight. Not too difficult. Okay. Following a Sayadaw's talk, I tried to practice on watching pain caused by mental contact, imbalance of elements, body sensitivity, and the knowing mind, rather than just as pain. Then I was able to follow the pain as it changes for a much longer period, without feeling painful, but rather interesting and happy. Am I on the right track using this method? Need Bhante's guidance. Thank you, Bhante. Okay. All right. Now this one is vipassana. Vipassana in the sense of when you are doing vipassana, every now and then you will encounter pain. The principle of noting, the principle of noting whether pain or any form of object in vipassana meditation, what is important is this, that first of all, you have a noting mind. That means your mind that pays a clear attention on the object, right? It pays clear attention to the object. Then secondly, the object. The itself is changing, or it's getting stronger, or it becomes less, or it may change from one object to another object. Now, if you have these two factors, then you are on the right track. You're on the right track. At times, it may comes with joy. It may comes with some degree of joy. That is to say, you are interested in noticing of what you are observing. Interested here means that the mind has, when you notice that object, the mind is quite alert. And that time also, the restless mind or the anger or the aversion does not come in, because the mind is interested in noticing. So if this case is a pain or sometimes various types of pain arises at a certain period of time during in the meditation. Now, this one is usually during a sitting. If happens that you are noticing it clearly and noticing it, you can see its changes and your mind is clear and alert, then it's well and good. Sometimes noticing pain, usually in the beginning part of our development, well, there's not much joy, honestly. In the beginning of a development, there's not much joy, because the mind cannot withstand the pain. It cannot withstand the pain is because the mindfulness is not, you cannot able to stretch that mindfulness, or the mindfulness cannot be continuous. Therefore, when it's not continuous, it's not strong, it's easily overcome by overcome by the unpleasant feelings. Then therefore, anger arises, aversion arises, or you're fidgeting, or your mind is start running, thinking here and there. It's because the mindfulness is not strong. Now, after some time when you practice, after maybe a retreat, after another retreat, when you have the capability, your continuity of your mindfulness becomes much more better, more skillful in development, then whenever you put the mind onto the pain, then that time the mind does not affect the mind. The pain does not affect the mind. It's still painful though. It's still very painful. It's not to say that the pain gets less. The pain is still painful, but the mind is not affected. The mind can able to watch it clearly. So at times when you are watching it, noticing it this time, then more or less most of the time is like upeka, that you're watching it, it's going on. You're neither happy, you're neither angry, you're neither sad or whatever is going on. The mind is able to stay with it, which is good. But at times, your mind becomes interested about it, interested to noticing what is going on. And when one is interested, let it be. It's perfectly all right. Okay, it's perfectly all right if your mind able to notice it in that way. But it does not happen. This type of joy will not happen all the time. This joy will not happen all the time. It will sometimes come, sometimes go. Sometimes it comes, then you take note of it. Don't expect it to come all the time. This nature of this joy, this rapture, which is also, the Pali word is piti. And it comes as interest, not come as like suddenly your mind become very delighted, happy, so very happy and so on. That one is too much already. But this time it adds in, it kind of like have a value added to the noting. Then the noting becomes interesting, or the object become interesting. You can able to notice the changes of the object, even with the pain also. Even with the pain. So don't have the wrong idea that a pain must always be pain, nothing but pain. This time when you're more skillful, what happened is that your body is painful, but your mind is not affected. Just like what the Buddha says, when you are sick, let the body be sick, don't let the mind be sick. And this is one of its meaning. So here you are painful, but this time your mind is not affected. All right? So you're doing right, not to say you're not doing wrong, but don't expect that it comes in all the time. Okay, let's go with the next question. Okay. Now, regarding remorse, can you all see? Can you all see? Okay. Sometimes I have to ask, then you let me know you can see. Because sometimes when coming to this sharing of screen, sometimes once in a while you may not able to see it, so I have to stop and then start again. Then perhaps you can see. But if you can see, then well and good. Okay, Bhante, regarding remorse. If we did wrong things to other people who already passed away, or someone who doesn't want to meet us again, will our apologies towards them be received? Even we don't say it out loud, but only in our hearts, so that we can be at peace and no more remorse, and our karmic resultant will be less than disappear. Okay. Now here, yes. The apologies that you sincerely asking for forgiveness from them, perhaps you may not able to see the people anymore, which is like what you say, that the people may not want to see you, or the person has already passed away. Now, if you don't say it out loud, but already in our hearts, then it is perfectly all right. It's perfectly all right. Here, of course, here when we want to do this, asking for forgiveness from them, then it is important, as I said 2 days ago or even last week, as I said, you must be sincere, and you must try at your very best not to do it again in future. That is important. Not to do it again in future, and you must be sincere. Or even we can't say it out loud. Now, for some people, they want to go in front of the Buddha Rupa. They want to go in front of the Buddha Rupa, and then because of the faith, and then they put in front of Buddha, they're asking for forgiveness in that sense. Then it's also okay, not to say it's wrong, it's perfectly all right, But don't depend on the Buddha only. If it's there, sometimes you want to do in the front, it's perfectly okay. But if it's not there also, if the Buddha is not there also, you can do it wherever you are. And you don't have to do it one time. You can do it again and again. Because sometimes these apologies, sometimes this asking for forgiveness, sometimes our mind doesn't really sink in. You have to do it sometimes again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Then until our mind is free from that holding on to that type of remorse or regret. So repetition also is in a way important, and sincerity, of course, that is the most important. So we can be at peace and no more remorse, and our backcoming result will be less and then disappear. No, your karmic result will not be less, sorry to say. Oh, everything you apologize, everything everything gone. No, everything habis. No. Karma, don't do like that. What will happen is this. Because of our ignorance, we done the wrong things towards other person and so on. We will bear those type of karma. All right, we will bear those type of karma. But in the present, if our wholesome state of mind begins because of our wisdom and wholesome state of mind, and then we begin to start to do asking for forgiveness, and we sincerely do it. And that will be wonderful, because at this present, you are creating more wholesome karma. So you create this more wholesome karma does not mean that you nullify the unwholesome karma. But in the future, because of that, you ask for forgiveness, and in the future, that type of regret, that type of sadness, or the something that's stuck in your heart and you find very uneasy, those type of emotional or regret and so on, you don't become entangled with it. So that type of karma, that type of remorse, it stopped there in the present. It stops there in the present, and then you produce wholesome karma in the future. And then next time, with that wholesome karma that you have performed, that you have done, like asking for forgiveness. Now, in the future, in the far future perhaps, if the ripening of that unwholesome karma that you have, if the ripening is there, of course you will still suffer. But because of you have a wholesome karma that to support you, then you can able to embrace, or you can go through the difficult times better. You still have to bear up, but we need that wholesome karma in order for us to bear us up with that this one. For example, right now, for example, if let's say right now in the situation, all this COVID and so on, and then you are your career is affected. You lost your job. You lost your job. Let's say if you lost your job and then you have no money to pay this or that, your rent or your mortgage or here and there. Okay, now because of that, and then for some people they really slide down already, and they get poorer and poorer and poorer. But if you, on another person, if he lost his job, but then because he got a lot of financial backing, a lot of good financial backing, and therefore he can able to pull through. He can able to pull through. Or some people who are sick because of unwholesome karma, they are sick. Then because of they don't have financial means, and then they have to go through a very difficult, or even they cannot cure their sickness. But another person has the same sickness. Another person have the same sickness, but he got the financial means to overcome the sickness. So something like that. You have to bear up with the karma too, because of our ignorance, there's no like getting less. This is not accounting. I say, karma is not accounting. Karma is that you do it, you have to. But the thing is that this karma will, as long as you are in samsara, then they will ripen, or they may ripen when the conditions is there. So the best thing is that we have to check out for the get out from this samsara. And you get this samsara. So sometimes this type of strong, or this type of karma, they got no time to chase us. Then because we are already out already, then everything over. Okay. Say it's easy. Yeah. Okay, the next one. Okay. Next one also the same person who asked the question, with this one. But when I share merits to the departed ones, sometimes I didn't feel any happy feeling, just neutral feeling. The question is whether my merits was received by the departed ones. Okay, all right. Now, sharing of merits here is, like they says that you share from a candlelight to another candlelight. If the person has the candle at the candle the other end, if he doesn't hold the candle, then he cannot able to get the light too. So to hear the same thing also. When you share the merits, okay. Now when you share the merits here, sometimes your departed ones may receive, sometimes they may not receive. According to the Buddhist understanding, is that there are some beings in the Peta world, and some species of the Peta, because Peta is a existence, and they got many types of species, many types of Peta, and one of the Peta is that they receive these merits as like their nutriment, That's like their nutriments. If they feed on this nutriment provided by the living ones, then they may be reborn in the better planes of existence. But if they are not in that category, and if they are in other category by other types of beta, or other as an animal, or as a hell beings, then they may not able to receive these merits. No. But nevertheless, the Buddha says that in our past, so many of our uncountable ancestors that we have, surely there's some reborn there. And all this sharing of merits is because of this Anatta Pindika. You saw all these beings under the table while he is eating. So came to the Buddha. Buddha says you share the merits with them. Okay. Now the thing is that when you share the merits, not necessarily you must have a happy feeling. If you are happy, you have a happy feeling, then okay. If you don't have, then doesn't matter. What matter is that your sincerity. Your sincerity. Now, your sincerity again here, it can come in with another thing. Sometimes you want to share the merits with, let's say, your departed relatives, or your departed mother, or your departed father. Now, what you can do is that if you can, while sharing of merits, then no. Before sharing of merits, then you already have that intention. You want to dedicate these merits to that particular departed one, all right? Or a group of them, for example, that you know. So if you already have that intention, then while you are doing it also, then sometimes what you can do is that you project their names, or you project their faces if you can while you're doing it. Then because you project their names, their faces, and your mind is not scattering here and there, and because of that sincerity, you transfer the merits to them. Whether they can able to receive the merits or not, that is not your concern. That is not your concern, because here it's just the same as whether they are having the candle or not, or whether they are in that particular realm of existence or not. Okay, so you don't have to worry whether they have they receive the merits or not. Now, the next thing about sharing of merits is that perhaps that your departed ones already reborn in the better planes of existence than you. You are the one who need the merits, and not them. They are all maybe in the happy heavenly planes of existence already. They are so rich, and now here you got no job. Then you by your ancestor, hey, you send a little bit down, maybe you throw a box of gold down here for me. You need the merits, not they. But anyway, the thing is that, all right, when you share the merits with them, okay, they may not need the merits, but nevertheless, because you still remember them, because of that remembering of them, then you share with them, then they are in the happy realm of existence, then they remember, oh, my relatives or my children at that life, they still remember me, So because of their happiness for you, then in a certain way, they begin to help to protect you when you are not perhaps you are not in the right state, or when you are in the destitute, or when you have problems, or you have certain things, and then sometimes these beings may come and help you unknowingly. Sometimes you come into a car accident, then other people may die or get hurt, but you are just able to walk out like a miracle. Why? Sometimes you say that karma, yes, but sometimes you may have like beings trying to help you or helping you, which they don't show their faces or they don't show themselves. It may be part of your ancestors because you share the merits with them a lot. So nevertheless, what is important is that make sure that your mind is sincere. You share it with them, whether they are in that particular realm of the beings, or whether they are in the heavenly world, or whether in whatever world is there. Then your job is just to do that sharing of merits. Even like Venerable Kesri Dhammananda, they use the word transference of merits for the departed, sharing merits for the devas and all that thing. But then in the Pali, they don't have this separate meaning, They don't have this separate meaning. But nevertheless, when we use it in English, they want to use it in that way. Well and good. It's not to say wrong, but nevertheless, in Pali, you don't have this separate in that sense. So we share the merits whenever we can, whenever we do wholesome wholesome actions, whether you are sitting down or whether you are just meditate for 1 minute of metta or 1 minute of vipassana, then it already have tremendous amount of merit. Just like 2 days ago, we talked about the heap of wholesomeness. What is the heap of wholesomeness? 4 foundation of mindfulness. So even you do 1 minute of vipassana, you also can able to share the merits already. Even the Buddha says that in the Dhammapada, even there's a blink of an eye, if you can able to practice metta, if even if the blink of an eye you can able to practice metta, then the food that you eat from the devotees who have faithfully offered to you, then it is says that it is not like without merits. It is you are deserving of those food or those food. Yes. Even you got 1 moment. What more if you can able to practice for a period or for a long period of time? So this is what it means here. So nevertheless, you share the merits. But nowadays, sometimes when we do this sharing of merits, it becomes like so normal already. It's just like waiting for the Bhante or monks or nuns to chant finish. And then here we become too normal already. Then the heart doesn't feel anything anymore. So it would be good that even you do it for many, many times, countless times, as best as possible. Every now and then we bring out that heart. We try to remember them. We try to remember them. We share the merits with them. Sometimes, yes, out of negligence, then our mind just pass through. But nevertheless, every now and then we have to remind ourselves, okay, sincerely share the merits with them. Okay? All right. So, don't worry whether they can receive or not. Okay. What else? Let me see. All right. Okay. Next question. I got to move I got to move this thing higher. Okay. Bhante, the Buddha advised us not to accept his and others' teaching blindly, but to instead ponder on it carefully and accept it, only if it fits our personal reasoning and common sense. Number 1. In the case of untrained people or puthujjana like us, our views are still largely wrong and our defilements are still dense. So our system of reasoning and common sense will naturally contradict or doubt the Buddha and his teaching, especially when we hear it for the first time. How to overcome this so that we don't miss the real triple gem? Okay, all right. So let's look at question 1. Now, yes, what you say is true, that when we begin to hear the first time the teachings of the Buddha or teachings of morality, we tend to contradict, as you say, or doubt. For example, cheating. In the business, a lot of time people in the business, they want to cheat another in order to just to get that advantage, just to get the business, and there's a lot of illegal ways, sometimes a lot of not so straight way, sometimes a lot of loopholes here and there. So here the cheating become very clear. The cheating become very clear, but then over time, when they begin to listen to the teachings of the Buddha, and then they begin to doubt. Hey, if I don't cheat, how can I make my money? their doubt, or sometimes, like Buddhists, they are more into a Buddhist development already. And then, for example, like seafood. Those days, you go to seafood restaurant, you feel so happy. Nowadays, you don't want to kill. Initially, when you want to change that time, when you hear no killing, you should not go for seafood, and you're sea like that also cannot. Be a Buddhist also so difficult. The best food, pun tak boleh dapat, cannot eat anymore. Then it contradicts. Then we understand. But then there are also, when you go into the deeper aspect of Buddhism, then you will still be able not understand there's number of things. There's a number of things you may not be able to understand. Say about Nibbana. 講到 Nibbana now, a lot of people don't want to hear already, because it's very, very abstract to them. Cannot understand. Sometimes even talk about vipassana, development, chittanupassana. Oh, you Bhante so deep, you talk. I catch no head, no tail, no leg, no feet, no hands also. Don't know what you're talking about. Which is very true, because you may not able to appreciate it yet. But for some people, yes, they can able to appreciate it. And the more I talk, the more interesting, the more interested they are, they want to hear. But for other devotees, they, so dry, Bhante, so dry, I don't understand. And then if I talk about merits, Bhante, hold your Dhamma talk very good. But another group of people, Bhante, talk not so deep, Bhante. That again here, we understand. So different yogis have a different development. Okay. Now, how we overcome so that we don't miss the real triple gem, which is good. Okay. Now, those things that you cannot understand, make sure your mind don't close about those things. That means that you don't shut it out. For example, if you're keen right now in doing like dana, keeping precept, you're doing a lot of service, you like to hear Dhamma talks, good, wonderful, But when it comes into the talk on meditation, and let's say you have not started your meditation yet, you don't be like that type of attitude that you already shut your mind already, You shut your mind already. I don't want what meditation? All these things, meditation is no good now. What for? Wasting time, sit there, not doing anything. You see, then or sometimes you go into a meditation center. You see these people walking. Who in the world walk so slow? Either they are walking or either they are standing. They walk so slow. 1 hour, walk only by 15 feet only, 1 hour they can walk only 15 feet only. Who in the world walk in this way? No, I'm not going to do all those things. Now here, if you happen to see this or you hear this type of things that you cannot still understand, now make sure that your mind is open. Then don't keep it like you cannot or you don't want to. Now, yesterday or the 2 days ago, I said that a lot of you, when you talk about Nibbana, many of you said, "Oh, Bhante, no, cannot lah. Already cannot." You already haven't started. You already say cannot, or you start halfway, but you already say cannot already. So when you do this type of attitude and you begin to shut down all this deeper Dhamma, then you will always be where you are there. You are not going to go any more progressively, because although the Dhamma is open right now, the Dhamma is being taught right now, but your mind just cannot push through, cannot go through because of that block, attitude. So you make an effort, you make an effort here if you don't want to miss the real triple gem, because the triple gem is encompassing from the day you start to be more to practice wholesomeness and you give up unwholesomeness until nibbana. Until you get out of this cycle of birth and rebirth, that's all triple gem, tiratana. So here, if you don't want to miss those things, you keep your mind open. You may not understand it right now, but it's good that you listen to it. Because you listen to it next time when you happen to go and practice. So happen that you want to practice in the future. Then, hey, I heard that before, Or you read some of the books about meditation, about Abhidhamma or things like that. Then, in later part, you begin to hear about this or you read about it again. Then perhaps you may able to understand those things better. So too, like sometimes when we read the suttas and so on, the first time when we read, our perception of that sutta is like that because it's correspond to your experience at that time. Then we also know that when we practice and we develop some time, then we read that particular sutta again, then it gives you another meaning. It gives you a deeper meaning, right? Because of your further development. So too, the same thing here, that so that we don't miss the triple gem, is that make sure that you keep your mind open and you keep on seeking. We keep on seeking and don't stop. And if you stop, then you cannot go anywhere. You only stop, when you become Arahant. But the thing is that Arahant, they don't even stop. They still meditate for the peace of here and now. But all the defilements is all eradicated already. They don't have to work, inverted comma. They don't have to work further. But they still, after this one, they still meditate. So even the Buddha also, every now and then, also sometimes we go for 2 weeks retreat, personal quiet retreat away from all the monks. Or sometimes we go for 3 months retreat in the forest, away from all the monks. Other words, away from all the duties. They still come for retreat. So here, if we don't want to miss, you make sure you keep your mind open and you keep inquiring and seeking and if you put those things into practice and you dare to jump into further, deeper aspect of Buddhism, then you begin to break that fear, break that ceiling. You become to break that ceiling that you can able to go a little bit more further. Just like for example, there's a lot of people when they come into Vipassana. In the beginning of the Vipassana, they come in, they must come in with friends, If the friend don't come, they also don't come. If the friend come, then they come. Then after that, after some 1 or 2 retreats or 3 or 4 retreats, they feel that now the meditation is better. Now, the friend don't come, they will still come. Then next time they go further, better the friend don't come. Come only kacau only. Then this is like that. So because in the beginning we are not very sure we need this type of friend, then begin to push ourselves further into things that we are not sure, or we in the beginning part of Buddhism we have doubt and fear and so on. But as it goes, things gets better. So you keep your mind open, don't close it. KIV, a lot of your knowledge there. Okay. You told us about charismatic teachers and incorrect teaching out there. So how do underdeveloped people like us avoid being misled and hoodwinked? So you get charismatic theory or incorrect teaching. So how do you not being caught into it. No? Now let's say there are a few things that what we can do. Nowadays, of course, with our internet and books, and especially internet and books that we have, there's so many Dhamma that is being written, and also there are many interpretation that is being written also. Even in the present or in the past. So, even the books are so many. Even this whole library that I'm looking at it right now, I don't know how many percent, less than maybe 2%, 3% of the books I read, But all these books, I have not seen it also. I know some of the content, but I don't see it also. Now, the thing is that while we want to be in the Dhamma, what will be good is that we stick to the Dhamma. We try to stick to the Dhamma. Now, if you are in the Theravada tradition, you try to stick with the Theravada tradition, which is fine. Then it's good. If you think of like a wider concept, or you want to like taking Mahayana, this one and so on, then sometimes for some people is that when you have all these things mixed up together, then there'll be a lot of confusion. You're going to go through a lot of confusion. So it would be good that sometimes we stick to the Theravada in this one. If you want to understand things a bit more further in the Theravada tradition, in the beginning, also, while you're in the Theravada tradition, now it's good that we go and explore, especially the Dhamma talks or the books. There's so many, that's written into it. Then again here, we may need some good teachers to recommend to us some of the books that is good for certain things. You want to understand, let's say, what is the meaning of karma? Then teachers may recommend to you, okay, this book is good, or this talk is good, that talk is good. You want to learn about dana, then again they can recommend to you some of these books are good. You want to learn about meditation, some of these books are good. So when you have this, then it is good that you go and learn it as much as you can. And then also another thing, it will be good that you'll go and learn the suttas also. You're going to learn the suttas. And we go and flip the understanding of the sutta. And nowadays, the sutta also give you the commentaries. Now, some people, when it comes to the commentary part, some devotees, even some monks also, sad to say, they totally disregard the commentary. They only take the sutta, but they do their own commentary. Now, the approved commentaries, a lot of times when you read the suttas, and then some of the authentic translation of the suttas, and then at the back they give you a part of a commentary commenting on that particular subject, and that commentary has been done 1,000 years ago, or more than that, more than 1,000 years ago. And these commentaries are approved by the Tipitaka Council, the 6 Tipitaka Council, where all these learned monks and practiced monks, they come in, they chant the suttas, the Vinaya, the Abhidhamma, and then they also chant into the commentaries, and then they bound everything together. They go through it, they approve it. And therefore, because of these learned scholars that we have, then it's good that we put our more emphasis in understanding this type of things. Then with that as a base that you have, then it's good that we're going to look into some of what the contemporary teachers are teaching. Contemporary teachers are teaching, and see whether their teachings, at least on the theoretical level, are okay or not. So this is one thing. Theoretical part of it, if you want to go and look for it, then it will be looking at the source itself and its commentary, because a lot of things in our suttas here you cannot able to understand until they have some commentaries, because sometimes even in the Dhamma talk also, I have to show you the commentary part in order to understand that particular sutta. So it's good that sometimes we have that commentary. So nowadays we have this Bhikkhu Bodhi that is doing the translation, and a lot of these commentaries are also at the behind of the books or sometimes in the middle of the books. There are some other authors also who written in this one. Then we're going to look into all these things. Also, sometimes I notice that even like Theravada, Theravada devotees and so on, you may quote sometimes. Sometimes I see them quoting in the Facebook, in the Facebook, and then they post it out. Sometimes they quote from other religion, about morality, for example, and then they put it in there. And I know that these people are Buddhists, and they come into the Dhamma talks also right now, and then they post things which is not in the Buddhist sense, but in the sense that they may be they are calling morality or dana, which is in a way universal, and not. Then they say, what is wrong with posting these things on the internet? It doesn't contradict with our understanding, with the universal acceptance of the Dhamma, right? So here, you got to be careful. You got to be careful, because that particular teaching may be right, That particular person may quote, or that particular devotee may quote from another person, which is not in the Theravada, may be right things, But that person may be teaching other things which is not right, may be totally contradict with the Buddhism. Because they may teach about soul, self, God. They may teach about universal, kind of like universal consciousness, these type of things. But other things they extract it out and you put it there. Then some people, they can write it very well. So some people, let's say Buddhists, then they say, oh, this person who write this one must be very good. I must go and check this person out. Then when they check this person out, it's totally another, like all kinds of other knowledge that is happening there. Other kinds of wrong knowledge is really happening there. It's only one part is right, but because you go into it and then you go and look into all these things, and then sometimes you get caught into it, because they can write very well or they can speak very well. They can speak very well, they can write very well. Sometimes in the internet also, in the YouTube also, the same thing. I hear some of the Indian people, Swami, or the American or the European, they can speak very clear, in the sense of they are clear, in the sense that it can, as if like it can be able to touch you. But when you look in the bigger aspect of their teaching, then after that they have a soul connected with it. They have a they have a soul, they have a God connected with it, they have a self connected with it. And this one is totally go against the understanding of Buddhism. Then But the thing is that some people, because of that, they love to hear this type of talks rather than listening to the proper talks, although sometimes the person who is speaking may be a bit dull. Not dull, sorry, be a bit flat now, There's no like intonation, there's no like mood there, There's no like happiness there. They are speaking quite equanimous in that sense, But you don't like to hear this thing. You like to hear all this type of people who are talking very nicely, very charismatic. That's why you get caught into it. Yeah? So you be careful. This is one thing. Now the next thing, not to get you misled into it, is of course, this time you have to put it into your practice. You have to put these things into your practice, and it takes you time. Especially like as a lay devotees, you don't have much time. Even in the lockdown right now, you don't have much time. Your mind is worried about more of when to go out, whether they got police or not. All the mind is going haywire. So even you don't have much time to meditate. But for monks, we can go and try this for a while. We can try that for a while. This one, after that, try that for a while. We know which one is good, and we know which one is not good. But sometimes when they tell it to you, even though you know what is good, and sometimes they tell you something is wrong. Sometimes some devotees will say that this Bhante is already jealous about other monks. He look down on other things. I'm not saying I'm look down on other things. I don't look down on them, actually. It's just that when it's wrong, I have to say that it's wrong. When it's right, I say that it is right. But it's hard for us to see because I can see it. You don't have the time to practice. You don't have much time to practice. So the second part is that you must have the right time to practice. And when you see the resultant of that practice after some time, then only you know that whether the practice is right or wrong. Again, right or wrong also is a bit, if you don't have the wisdom part, then also a problem. The third part of not getting misled, then you have to turn all your whatever wholesome merits that you have, you turn it to seek for the right teachers. Now, this time you have to trust your wholesome merits already. Just like sometimes they do with this type of chanting, Imina punya kamena mambe bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yavani bana patiya. This chanting is like, by the grace of this merit I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise until the time I attain nibbana. Here, imina punya kamena. The kamena is that the various actions, the various good deeds that I've performed. Punya is merits. The merits of my karma, so that I do not follow the foolish, but only the wise until I attain nibbana. So this time you have, because in the out there, sometimes what is right and what is wrong, it's a very gray area because our wisdom is not strong. Our wisdom is not strong, it's not sharp. So we have to put in that, we got to direct or to align, align our merits for that purpose of meeting with the right teachers, the right friends, and not meeting with the foolish until you attain the nibbana. And with that, then you might be surprised that after this, you always meet with the right teachers. You meet with the wrong teachers, at least you know. You meet with the right teachers, you know how to follow their teaching. I've done this thing, this imina punya kamena, since I was 14 years old. Then Then because that time also we don't have all this right. We do not know who are the right teachers. Now, even like when we come into meditation, then there are teachers about teaching about samatha, vipassana, this one, that one. Then I know, of course, that time also I have doubt. Should I go here? Should I go there? Once in a while, But I trust because of merits and also because of certain wisdom. I trust certain teachers and I go through with that and develop with it. Yeah. And it takes time. Doesn't mean that it takes just a year or two. It takes decades to practice. Yeah. Okay. You should make sure that you make that effort also. You make that effort. The first two things that you put in, that you must have the proper theory, a good theory, and the practice. This is much more strong. The practice and the theory, these two is much more stronger. But in order to top it up, you make sure that you adhitthana, you make an aspiration to meet with the right teachers, the wise. Okay. Next question. I just got to know Theravada Buddhism and Vipassana during these recent years. Before this, I was in other Buddhist tradition. Now, ever since, whenever I saw a monk, nun, Buddhist devotees doing some rituals or programs which is not in line with the teachings of the Theravada Buddhism, I noticed that there are thoughts that arise in the back of my mind and start commenting on what they are doing is right, etc. and etc. How to stop this ignorance and ill will thoughts from arising? Okay, please advise. Okay. Now, many of us, when we begin to see what other Buddhist people are doing, just because sometimes we think that we are more matured, we have a deeper Dhamma and so on, then we tend to judge. And when we tend to judge, because we're holding on to the Dhamma, then we judge with our ego. Because of that ego that you have, then the ill will arises. So we got to learn to check the ego. We're going to check the ego, and then we have to bring in a little bit of wisdom. But the thing is that we don't have much. Perhaps we don't have much wisdom. We know that something is wrong and they are not supposed to do, but there's other people still doing it. So too, sometimes I move around, and also I see on the internet nowadays, I see some devotees are doing what something is wrong and so on. I don't get angry about it. I don't get angry about it because it's not that I don't care, but I don't get angry about it. So what do I do then? Here, when you see another person doing something which is perhaps against the Theravada teaching, and perhaps you may not able to or you may not able to tell him or to tell her, for example, but you so happen to see it. And now here is that you be watchful of your mind. You become more watchful of your mind. Watchful of your mind means when somebody performs something which is wrong, and then here you be careful of your judgment. You know that thing is wrong. You understand that it is wrong, and you accept that is wrong. When you have that acceptance of that one is wrong, then here the mind doesn't have anger. The mind acknowledges that this is wrong, and therefore that acknowledging of it that it is wrong is in the sense that you are exercising your discretion rather than your egoistic judgment. You see, the Buddha also taught us that you have to know what is wrong, you don't have to know what is right. You cannot say that you don't care, don't bother, that type of attitude. That don't care, don't bother also is not good, because you don't care, don't bother, you thought that, I may not create any unwholesomeness, but you are not doing anything unwholesome. So, in order to change it to become something wholesome, you see it with discretion, you see it with wisdom. You know that that particular certain activities that they do, it is wrong. You know that it's wrong. That time, if you cannot able to tell them, then you may not, the situation may not permit you to tell them, then you know that in your mind, this is wrong. When they do something is right, you know that this is right. Then when you do that, then you do it again and again. Next time, you are much more stable. Your mind doesn't go into this one, and yet at the same time, you know that this one is right, this one is wrong. You're exercising your discretion, which is very good if you do that. So sometimes we see the monks or the nuns. We don't judge in the sense of the monks or the person itself. We judge on that particular action, and we know that this is wrong. You know that this is wrong. Sometimes it says that in the psychology, it says that you are a bad boy, you are a terrible boy, and psychology says that no, what you do, this thing is wrong. This one is not right for you to do, and you should do it in the right manner. Nowadays, the psychology is like that. Those days, you do wrong, before they tell you, you cannot slap first. You cannot rotan first. You get your cane first, and then only they'll tell you what is wrong. Nowadays, no. So what I'm saying is that you must exercise your discretion rather than your ego. But it's very easy for our ego to arise, because sometimes our wisdom, if it so happens we want to tell the another person, and you've got to be careful, don't let your ego comes in. If your ego comes in, it means that you start comparing the person already. It's the action is wrong, and then sometimes you tell even the monk itself, then this particular action, I feel that this is not so right, this is not so right because of this and this and this. So if the monk itself is open, then they can able to accept this one. If you can point it out, Bhante, this Bhante is very bad, this Bhante is terrible, and then you put your ego inside there, It's so easy for our ego to arise. All right, next question. This question is slightly a little bit more difficult. The English term for asanya, non-percipient beings, seems inaccurate. It seems to suggest that the beings have no perception at all. If that were true, this non-perception would be more superior than the neither perception nor non-perception beings. This is the 8th jhana, or almost non-perception. In the Patthana, the non-percipient being is said to have one Mahabhuta, which I presume is the great primary earth element. Is it not possible that the so-called non-percipient beings still has the earth element and sanya for the earth element, but not other aggregates which are temporarily suspended? Okay, first question first. This one is wrong. Okay, what is wrong? Let me tell you. From the in Patthana here, you see my cursor here. In Patthana here, the non-percipient being, all these things are wrong. All these things are wrong. Let me change the whole understanding. Now, the first question here, it seems inaccurate. Okay, the word asanya satta. Satta means being. Asanya means without perception, if you translate it directly. But for this word asanya satta, it means that no mind, not just no perception, but the mind is totally suspended. For this asanya satta, it means that this is a Brahma. It's the 4th Brahma realm, It's the 4th Brahma realm, and they live for 500 Mahakapas. And it's unimaginably long time. Although we put there 500 as if that is so short, 500 Mahakapas is imaginably long time. Unimaginably long time there. So the word non-percipient beings. Sometimes some people put there mindless beings, mindless beings without mind, which is more of a figurative translation, which is in a way right. And then asanya is more like literal translation. But what it means is without mind. So here it suggests that it's better than those in the eight precepts. So no, it's not in that sense. There are two different things here. Two different things. Doesn't mean that without mind it's better than you have neither perception nor non-perception. Here, neither perception nor non-perception beings, these arupa beings, doesn't mean that they are without body. Whereas these non-percipient beings, they still have a body. They still have a body. So there's a difference here. Now, to change your understanding, from in the Patana, you said that this is wrong. This is wrong. Now, let me show you. Let me stop this sharing, and I have to go to my another book. Okay. You see the non-percipient beings? Can you all see? Okay. All right, non-percipient beings. Okay, now it says here, among the non-percipient beings, the eye, ear, heart, base, and sound are also not found. Similarly, no consciousness-born material phenomena are found. That means there's no consciousness at all. Now, that means there's no mind at all. There's totally no mind at all. Okay. Therefore, at the moment of their rebirth linking, only vital no-net arises. Rebirth linking. That means is their birth consciousness, rebirth consciousness. Okay. Only vital no-net arises. I'll explain a bit what is vital no-net. During the course of existence, material phenomena produced by temperature, with the exception of sound, of course. You don't worry about the exception of sound, continues. That means, what is the last sentence here? It means that while the beings is existing for 500 Mahakalpas that time, they are sustained by temperature. And temperature here is fire element. Fire element, so other words, only this temperature sustain them for 500. So it says that one Mahabhuta, one main in the sense that Mahabhuta is sustaining them, then what it means that this is the fire element, not the earth element as you say, you presume, but this is what is the temperature. Temperature is a fire element. What is vital no-net? Now here, when the percipient beings, when this type of beings arises in that particular planes of existence, then we're going to let you know what is practical. Let me go back a little bit to what is vital no-net. You just hold on for a while. Hold on for a while. Hold on. Coming. Wait. I already highlighted it. Yes. What is vital no-net? No-net means 9 things. Got 9 things, okay? Now, material phenomena that are inseparable. You have 4 great essentials. You got earth, water, wind, and fire. Earth, water, wind, and okay. The great essential. And the 4 derivatives: color, smell, taste, and nutritive essence. Here you got 8. Here you got 8. In the call of vital no-net, it's called, they have a next one because it's called 9. No-net means 9 things. Then they have this life faculty. A life faculty. What is a life faculty? I'll show you again. What is a life faculty? Wait. I also highlight that one. Life faculty. Let me put your screen up. A life faculty here, it means that the life faculty has the characteristic of maintaining coexistence kind of matter at the moment of present. You know that all this, just now all the 8 things, all the 8 things, these 4 elements and the vital, all the derivatives, all the 8 things, plus this 5 faculty, it's called the vital no-net. You got 9 things altogether, 8 plus 1. Just now the 8th one, it arises in all kinds of matter. So therefore, so here, wait, go back to the sharing. I cannot. Never mind. What I'm trying to say here is that your question here is that the fire element is the main primary element to continue the life. But when that being arises in that asanyasata, the body only have these 9 things only, these 9 things only. And then the temperature is trying to support these 9 things. I mean, it's a condition to support these things. And the body is like that only, very, very too fine actually. So the body is like, the body is there, a Brahma body, but the mind is totally suspended. Until 500 kalpas later, the mind starts to shake and then they reborn again in another plane of existence. Not too difficult. I mean, it all depends on whether you understand or not. I want to say not too difficult, but is there a connection between third jhana and the second arupa jhana in terms of illimitability of consciousness? Okay, illimitable means illimitable. That means limitless of consciousness. Yes, there's a difference here. Metta, you see, metta and second arupa. In the second arupa, here is called the boundless consciousness without boundary. Boundless, that means it's like totally boundless consciousness. Whereas metta, metta is like boundless metta. Sometimes we call those things. So what is this boundless? What is it different in a sense? Now, in metta, the metta is boundless. That means we spread the metta without restriction, without restriction to any beings. Without restriction to any beings. That means there's no restriction at all. Totally, we touch every beings, whatever or whoever they are. Whether it's our enemy, whether it's our loved ones, is whether whatever beings are, even beings right from the hell planes, arupa planes, we use the metta and you touch them. That's called boundless in the sense of metta. Whereas the second arupa jhana, it's called the base of boundless consciousness. That means the consciousness here right now, what it means here is that when the mind perceives the mind, okay, when the mind perceives the mind, then it knows that the mind is boundless. There's no boundary at all. Wherever the attention look in the mind, then they find that there's only consciousness. There's nothing able to block. There's like, it's not like you look in front of you, then suddenly you go out of the consciousness, you see the materiality, because that is boundary already, So here, when it says boundless consciousness, that means totally without boundary. That means when a person doing this arupa jhana, and it takes this boundless consciousness, And with that, it goes into jhana, into this second arupa jhana. So the perception, the nimit, you don't say nimitta, you say the perception here is to see that this consciousness is totally boundless, totally without border, without limitable. Yeah? So this is what it means here. One is metta, it touches all beings, whereas this one is it's a perception of the consciousness totally without this, without border, without boundary. Then with that you use it for the attainment of the second jhana. Okay. Anything else? Nothing else. Oh, almost 10:20 already. Yeah. No, my stamina is 1 hour now. After 15 minutes, I'm struggling already. like you climb up a hill, you can see that some people, something like that, you know. Anyway, all right, that's it for tonight now. Let's we share merits, huh? Okay.